Charles Purcell presents.
Dear Santa, here's my list of things I want for Christmas. I've been a good boy this past year. At least I've tried to be. It'd be nice if you could give me at least maybe just one of the items on this list. It's pretty much the same list I asked for every year. And you've never given me anything I asked for. I mean, not even once. And it's not even like I'm being selfish. They're not even for me. Most everything on the list is for everybody. So what do you say? I don't know why I keep trying, even. To tell you the truth, Santa, I think I've stopped believing in you. I've pretty much decided that you're not even real. But I thought I'd write to you one more time, just in case. Anyway, here's my list. First, a fair economy for everybody. I mean, inequality is just so off the charts right now. It's the worst since the Gilded Age, and I think even maybe worse than that. People are in poverty for no damn good reason. It's not their fault. The financial system should just end completely. Just put an end to, money just making money. People with money making more money and not actually creating anything else. The whole entire financial system, just make it go away, please. For that matter, the entire profit system. Profit shouldn't even be a thing. The profit system needs to end. I mean, could you make it, Santa, so everybody has like these ghost dreams, like Scrooge, and make them change their minds about all of this? Profit has to go. In fact, money itself, there should be no money at all. I mean, I know that's asking a lot. If you can't do that, at least make the profit system go away. But for my money, no pun intended, money just needs to go away completely. Okay, Santa? I mean, we all have to realize that money isn't real. At the very least, like I said, we're going to change the incentives away from profit. And so we have other incentives to do the right thing. We can't have profit be the only incentive in the system that runs our life. Okay? So no profit for sure, but if you can swing it, no money at all. Okay, next on my Dear Santa list. Could you stop AI from killing us? Artificial intelligence, it can do great things. We all understand the great things it can do. It can be labor saving, especially in the whole world of like diagnostics, health issues. It's crazy. It's incredible what AI is capable of. But as long as we got this profit thing going, as long as profit is the incentive, AI is going to go down a very dangerous road and quite possibly kill us. So, yeah, could you keep AI from killing us? And again, it's the no money thing. Probably pretty much everything on my list is going to come back to no money. Just, so you know. Next, no war, please. Can we end war, finally? I mean, it's enough already with this. It's our whole history. Regular people don't want to fight, except for, psychopaths who really get off on it. But that's a very tiny... People do it because they think they're doing the right thing or they think they're being patriotic. I don't blame them necessarily. But, it's so passé. War is so unnecessary. Nobody really wants to fight. Only the power elites who don't have to do the fighting themselves. And mostly they're fighting over what? Land and resources? Again, get rid of money, get rid of profit, you get rid of war. I could end my list probably right here. I shouldn't even make a whole list. It's just like, do away with money and everything else will probably be taken care of. But anyway, yeah. And that's not even to mention the war profiteers. The companies, the corporations, the CEOs, the billionaires, the owners who make billions and billions, trillions, literally trillions of dollars on the weapons of war. The masters of war. So, okay, no war, please. Next on my wish list for this Christmas, can we have health care for everybody? I mean, this is silly. This is so stupid. The fact that we don't have good health care for everybody on the planet just makes no sense. So we don't need insurance. That entire industry can just go away entirely. We don't need insurance. We need universal health care. And if you take away profit as the center of our entire lives, then we don't need people working at all these bullshit jobs and doing this menial labor for things none of us need. So there could be a lot more doctors and a lot more nurses and a lot more healthcare workers at every level. So we could have all the healthcare we need. Without money, the entire world of drugs would be turned upside down. It wouldn't be big pharma making a big profit. I mean, what would their incentive be? Healthcare professionals and people who develop pharmaceuticals, if they didn't have a profit incentive, then why would they do it? Well, they would do it to help people. And the entire world would just turn upside down. We got great people now doing great work. They want to do the right thing. They're researching cures for cancer and every other disease under the sun. These are beautiful, wonderful people doing it all for the right reason, but they're tossed into this bizarro system that makes them care about money and keeping their jobs and getting their funding and keeping their bosses happy. And it's just all crazy. It's all upside down. And get past the medical professionals and the pharmaceuticals, just get down to what we put in our bodies every day, the whole food issue. The fact that half of the items on the grocery store shelves are poison. They're literally poisoning us. They're literally killing us. They're putting in chemicals that make us want to eat more. They're increasing obesity and diabetes. And what do you think, these obesity rates that have skyrocketed over a generation? You think it's just because suddenly we became ignorant and stupid? No, of course. It's this horrible class war. And profit is winning at every turn. And the food is killing us, and then that feeds into eating disorders, and it engenders this whole industry of weight loss and unnecessary surgeries and unrealistic beauty expectations, and then we get the eating disorders, and oh my God. Healthcare, fix it. Santa Claus. This is on my list. Speaking of healthcare, mental health care. My God, for everybody. Like I said before, if we don't have to be going to these ridiculous contribute nothing jobs every day, so many more of us could be around to help each other out. And not in this weird sort of pop pseudo-psychology way where everybody under the sun has ADHD and autism. Oh my God. That would go away too, because that's just all clickbait. It's just clickbait because you can profit from the more likes and the more views you get. Take away profit, it all goes away. So mental health care for everybody. We can all help each other out. We can have more professionals. Everybody suffering with self-esteem issues. People, here's an example. Somebody has to grieve, right? The whole grieving process is something that gets no respect at all in our culture because you got to go back to work. There's no respect. Nobody's allowed, unless you've got huge resources. You can't go through a grieving process properly. You don't have the time you need. You don't have the resources you need. You don't have the help you need. And that's just one example. People with PTSD are just all over the place because of this modern profit world we live in that's filled with war and abuse. And so you get rid of it on the back end because there aren't so many triggering obstacles in your way. And then on this end of it, if indeed you do fall prey to some problem, mental health problem, you got more people to help out. If you got some anxiety or depression or whatever it is you need in the mental health care field. So once again, take away profit, take away money. Much of this self-heals, but where it doesn't, you got more people available to help. And then this ties right in with that, the kind of abuse we see, the abuse of alcohol, drugs. There's the abuse heaped on people by other people, especially ones they know, family, bullying, to the extreme of rape and assault. And then I toss into there too the sort of wokeism claim that comes from the alt-right and the whole MAGA movement that is just so bullying and mean, almost seems to take pleasure in it. I mean, we really are kind of sick. There is an abuse epidemic happening in this country. And for me, again, it all comes back to money and profit and power, and if you can get rid of that, Santa Claus, then that's great. But do what you can to end abuse. Okay, Santa, this is my list. I'm about halfway through. Santa Claus, rights for families. Families don't have rights right now. They don't have reproductive rights, even to the point of monitoring pregnancies and fertility and miscarriages. I mean, it's crazy. So, Santa Claus, for Christmas this year, please restore family rights, especially when it comes to reproductive rights. Even things like divorce, you got to protect that where it's needed. Again, with no money, with money out of the picture, that would probably cut divorce, I don't know, at least in half, maybe a lot more. So families are just getting no attention right now, even though half the country claims to be pro-family, whatever that means. So family rights, please. Next, public safety. Oh, Santa Claus. Crime. The causes of crime, we all know what they are. You don't have to be a bleeding heart. All the data, all the research, all of it. It's conclusive. It's even more than a consensus. It's conclusive. It's caused by mental health problems, caused by abuse victims, caused by poverty, caused by social injustice, this crazy drug war that's been going on since Nixon. And that's not even to mention the police reform that never happened, that we were promised, that everybody thought, oh, well, we finally reached the moment here where we can maybe see some police reform. And I'm not asking for defund the police, take that phrase out of your head, Santa Claus. But absolutely, reform, of course. The old cliche where if all you've got is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? Well, the police, and this armed, militarized police, is our only tool in the toolbox. So we go hammering everything. But that's what police reform is about. It's about reprioritizing our resources. And when someone calls in with a mental health emergency, for example, they'll get a mental health professional. Sure, they might get some backup in case the person is dangerous, but you don't send in this armed, militarized cop with, at best, maybe a couple of hours or half a day's training on mental health issues. That's just not the way you do it. So we got to rethink public safety. Santa Claus, on my Christmas wish list this year, can we please reform public safety? While we're at it, could we put an end to bigotry? I know it's a big deal. But again, maybe not so much if you take away the money and the profit, because people, a lot of racism is born out of fear, right? You're afraid of the black guy taking your job, or you're afraid of the immigrant taking your job. And there's all this rich people pitting groups against each other. Again, you don't have to be some bleeding heart, lefty, liberal commie to believe these things. These things don't take belief. They take eyes and ears. All the data, all the research tells us. So racism against blacks and Hispanics, homophobia against LGBTQ plus folks for absolutely no good reason, the whole anti-trans thing, which has exploded in recent years, the fact that we can have diverse families, some people are still behind the curve on that. We've seen in the last couple of years, in fact, I remember the president even made a joke about it, how you can hardly see a TV commercial anymore without a mixed race family. Okay, progress. Thanks, Santa. Thank you. Did you do that? Was that from one of my previous lists? Oh my God, and the bigotry around religion. Lord Almighty. Especially on the part of white Christian nationalists against other religions. And as I alluded to a second ago, immigration, the bigotry against immigrants, that really goes to the money thing. It's not only, well, a lot of it is just plain old-fashioned bigotry. That's where the replacement theory comes. Oh, we're not going to be a white Christian nation anymore. Those other people are going to take over. Well, that's just 100% pure, good old-fashioned bigotry. But there's also a big component of money and profit that comes into this. So yeah, if you could end bigotry, Santa Claus, that'd be fantastic. And speaking of immigration, here's one of my bigger wishes for Christmas. This is on my list. Let's abolish borders. Have you got the magic, the power to do that, Santa Claus? Abolish borders. Free movement around the globe. There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason in the world that shouldn't be recognized as a human right. You should be able to move yourself around the globe as you wish, especially when it comes to selling your labor, which I'm against in the first place. Nobody should have to sell their labor. But as long as we live in that world, if I can't get that wish where money is completely eliminated. If we have to live in a money world for a little while longer, we have to sell our labor. And if we have to sell our labor, then we ought to be free to move our labor around the globe. There is absolutely no justifiable reason. Oh, there are lots of reasons, but they're all selfish and they're all unjust and none of them have a leg to stand on. So yeah, there are lots of reasons, but they're all bad. There's no actual moral justification for borders. So I'd like to abolish borders, please, Santa. That's my Christmas wish list this year. Speaking of borders, we have to have a healthy environment. We have to stop the climate crisis. Climate crisis recognizes no borders. Rich countries are poisoning poor countries just like rich corporations are poisoning poor people in the grocery store. We are quite literally killing the global south, we in the global north. The climate crisis has to end, and the thing is, we know exactly what to do. Scientists know exactly what to do. They know how to reduce the pollution going into the air. We know how to do it. We know that we have to reduce consumerism, but of course that goes against what? Money, profit. We have to get manufacturing of goods localized. We have to have food production localized, but that works against what? Money and profit. The big world global corporations who grow all of the winter lettuce in 20 square miles of the globe and then send it all around. Okay, so no, there's no reason we can't stop the climate crisis. We know exactly how to do it. We know how to do it. We absolutely know how to do it. Money and profit are the only thing stopping us right now. And to try to end the climate crisis, to try to even mitigate the climate crisis while still upholding the money and profit system, you're just fooling yourself. You're just fooling yourself. So Santa Claus, you got the magic. You got the Christmas magic. Come on, can you help us out here? All right, next on my wish list, excellent education for everyone. There again, there's no mystery. We know how to do this. It needs to be free for everyone, pre-K through grad school. As far as education reform, we need plenty of it, and educators know how to do it. There might be some debate. That's always good healthy debate on best methods. Nobody wants to put an end to good, healthy debate. But what we can be doing compared to what we are doing, it's the width of the universe right now, the difference. So take away the money, take away the profit, take away the fighting. And yeah, we can have this reform. I keep going back to this, but it's a really important point. The only reason people work in all of these ridiculous jobs that don't really serve us, that don't really help us, is because money and profit rule. And the people with the most money, the billionaires, the CEOs, the people who run things, insist on it, that we all go to these dopey, useless jobs. If you take that away, suddenly everybody is available, or millions and millions of people are available to do work that actually helps. And that is to be a teacher, to be a teacher's aide. Without the money profit system, we would have like 10 times as many teachers and aides than we have now. We would have more than we ever need. We'd have a surplus. Oh, but then who would produce the goods and services? They'd still get produced. The productivity has just skyrocketed over the last couple of generations. And now with AI and robotics, it's going to go off the charts. Most of us don't need to be doing these ridiculous, invented, bogus jobs. We could be taking care of each other. We could be taking care of little kids. We could be taking care of elderly folks. And we could fill the schools with teachers and aides and give every single kid a world-class education. But money stops us. Bigotry stops us. Old-fashioned political ideas stop us. So an excellent education, Santa Claus, is on my Christmas list. Speaking of education, the education that goes throughout our lives, that which comes through the media. We need a media that serves the public interest, that serves each and every one of us throughout our lives. Do we have that now? Oh, Lordy, no. If you can find it, if you can sift through like looking for a needle in a haystack, you can find some good quality journalism and media out there, but it is a chore to find it. Journalism is in a crisis right now. Again, because of money. Has to turn a profit. Social media. Oh my God, we know what's happening with social media. It's making our kids crazy. It's making all of us crazy. It's eating up our time. It's literally changing our brains when there's no reason for it. Social media could be the most wonderful thing. It could connect us, which it does now, but without the algorithms that push you and pull you into their profit centers. Take away the money, take away the profit. Social media is then everything we thought it could be and more. And then you can get even past that, get into the worlds of art and music, popular culture, all suffering, all just denigrated by the overarching, never-ending lust for money and profit. Politics, the way it's covered through the media, the way it's covered in journalism, in the news, in broadcasting, the way it's reflected in social media. Politics has become poisoned. Take away the money, take away the profit. News, journalism, social media, even into the worlds of art, music, and popular culture are instantly improved, and they enhance our lives. They don't drag us into mediocrity and stupidity. Now, I want to say, Santa, don't get me wrong. There's some great journalists out there. They're great artists. They're great musicians. There are great moments of culture that I want to celebrate, and I wish we could expand. There are even people in the world of politics and government who are doing their very best. I don't deny that for a minute. There are wonderful, wonderful people with great ideas trying to do great things, but their hands are tied, and right now they're losing the war to the crud, the decay, the degradation of culture, of news media, of social media, of politics. Oh, I know we can do better, Santa Claus. Speaking of politics, let's get down to it, Santa Claus. Big on my wish list for this Christmas is free and fair elections. We have to have free and fair elections. The Voting Rights Act has been decimated to within an inch of its life. We don't really have choice because just a handful of people in the primaries make all the choosing for us, especially when it comes to presidential elections. So we need ranked choice. Santa, look it up. We need proportional representation if we're going to have representation at all. And we need multiple parties, or even better, no parties at all. The party system has destroyed efficient, effective, fair political representation. Good, solid government. And here again, it's mostly all about the money. Take away the money, and it'll free us up to make some reforms, get the money out of politics, and then those who govern, those who make the laws, can actually reflect those who live under the law. It's money, 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 Santa Claus. If you do nothing else for me, could you please abolish money? And if you can't do that, at least abolish the profit system. We got to start someplace. And then, speaking of good government, Santa Claus, my dearest wish for this Christmas is that you help us to understand that anarchism is the way to go. Yes, you heard me right, anarchism. I hope you understand what the word means. It doesn't mean violence. No, that was put onto anarchism by the enemies of anarchism. It's a very simple thing. Anarchy just means that we rule ourselves. We don't have rulers, we don't have leaders. You could still even have representatives, that's fine. But anarchism means, basically, money doesn't control government, and there's loads and loads and loads of democracy throughout our lives. How much democracy do you experience these days? Almost none. Every couple of years or every 4 years, you go into a voting booth and you choose between a couple of candidates that have been pre-selected years beforehand. We don't want violence, but we do want a revolution, Santa Claus. We need a non-violent revolution, whatever you can do, whatever you have in your sack, Santa Claus, that can help us succeed with a non-violent revolution to get us past capitalism, to get us past fascism, which now we've sunk into for the first time since World War II. It was always laying there in wait, but now suddenly, now we got to fight fascism again. So Santa Claus, whatever you have in your sack to help us out, that's what it really comes down to. We need very serious government reform. And in my mind, that's anarchism. Again, look it up. So that's my Christmas wish list, Santa Claus, just to review. A fair economy, stop AI from killing us, no war, health care for all, end abuse, family rights, public safety, no more bigotry, abolish borders, stop the climate crisis, excellent education and public media, free and fair elections, and anarchism. That is, no money, but lots and lots of democracy. So, there's my list, Santa. Just in case you're real. I mean, even if you are real, I know you're not like an all-powerful god or anything, but you've got enough magic powers to visit every boy and girl in one night, all exactly at midnight, and bring them toys right to their houses. I'd say that's pretty good magic. You can make some of the things on my list happen. I mean, at the very least, you could deliver books or documentaries or something that explain things to people who have the power but who don't understand how bad it is for the other folks, or for the poor people themselves, to teach them how to fight for their rights. I mean, heck, give everybody a copy of Howard Zinn's People's History or the Activist Handbook or something. You could at least do that. But like I said, I'm pretty sure I stopped believing that you're even real. Or maybe you are real, but there's just no way one person, even you, Santa, could give what I'm asking. Actually, when I think about it, that makes the most sense. I never should have expected you to be able to do all this. It takes everybody working together to make my list happen. But the good news is that the world is filled with wonderful people, and we've got all the resources and natural beauty we could ever need. There's no reason the billionaires and CEOs and the Scrooges of the world have to have it all. There's way more of us than there are of them. We could do this. Educate each other, march in the streets, boycott corporations, have general strikes, help each other out through mutual aid. We could definitely do this. So, Santa, if you are real, why don't you and Mrs. Claus and the reindeer and the elves and everybody join us and at least help? What do you say? Sincerely, Charles Purcell. This episode of Charles Purcell Presents is available right now wherever you find your podcasts, or go to the website charlespurcell.com for the full archive and all the other series in the podcast family. Follow me on Facebook, write to me at charlespurcell@gmail. Thanks to our flagship terrestrial station, River West Radio, riverwestradio.com. Theme music composed and performed by Peter Donalds. From the New Arts and Media Studios in Milwaukee, I'm Charles Purcell.